Well, Steve grabbed both of us, and he said, I just wanted to take this moment. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if we'll have this moment again. So I just want to take this moment and thank you guys, and it was a special moment. The first thing Travis said when we walked off was like, man, I'm so happy Steve was in the moment. Like, and he didn't miss that moment. But like going down the stretch, you can't help but think like, is this it? Is this the end?
Chuck did that at 6'4" too, nigga.
Damn, what the nigga average? 27?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Barkley was
28 right here.
Nigga averaged a double-double his whole career besides his rookie season.
Charles Barkley is one of the best power forwards.
That's not a brag. That's not a headline. That's a promise Charles Barkley made to himself decades ago, and one he's kept through every debate, every rivalry, every screaming match on live television. A really solid player. Not an all-time great. Not a legend. No bronze bust in Springfield. But a really solid player. He put together one heck of a career. We just don't belong in the same conversation. That's not bitterness. That's not a hot take. That's not a cheap shot for ratings. That's an 11-time All-Star, the 1993 NBA MVP, drawing a line in the hardwood with 2 calm sentences and letting a 4-time champion know exactly where he stands. Past tense. He had a heck of a career. For the second time in 2 days, Charles Barkley said it into a live microphone. We're not on the same level. Those 6 words are the sharpest thing uttered on sports television in years. Maybe in a decade. The kind of line you can only deliver when your Ursum has already done all the talking. The kind of line that lands like a hammer because the man saying it has already taken every punch the game could throw at him. And Charles Barkley's Ursum? It doesn't just speak. It screams. Then the rest of the league weighed in. Not because Barkley asked. Not because TNT producers made calls. Because in the NBA, players remember. They remember who was a nightmare to guard. They remember who bullied them in the post. They remember who backed down from nobody. Jeff Teague, 14-year NBA veteran, all-star, starter on a conference finals team, the Club 520 podcast. Even in those years, the years Charles Barkley himself said he sucked, the years Draymond tried to weaponize on national television, the years Barkley openly admitted were below his own standard. Even in those years, Charles Barkley was still averaging a double. Think about that. A down year for Charles Barkley was a career year for most of the league. A bad season for the round mound of rebound was still 15 points and 10 rebounds while giving up half a foot to every power forward he faced. Jeff Teague kept rolling. 1993 NBA MVP. Not a finalist. Not in the conversation. Not a nominee. The actual, literal, unanimous most valuable player of the entire National Basketball Association. The man who took the trophy home from one of the most stacked eras in league history. An era with Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, John Stockton. Then Teague brought out the numbers themselves. 6'4", listed generously. In shoes. With thick socks. Averaging 27 points, 28 points, a double almost every single season of a Hall of Fame career, rebounding against men 6 inches taller and 40 pounds heavier, outrunning, muscling, outlasting them all. And then the final word came from a player who actually guarded both of them, who switched on to Barkley in the post, who chased Draymond in transition, who felt the difference with his own body. No arguing. From his own peers. From the players who actually had to put a hand on their chests and try to stop them. Charles Barkley didn't have to call a single player to back him up. He didn't have to text a single contact. He didn't have to leak a single stat to a friendly reporter. They came on their own. Because in basketball, the resumes speak for themselves. And Draymond Green walked into a fight with a man whose resume is louder than his, tougher than his, and heavier than his. Here's the part nobody wants to talk about. The part that makes people uncomfortable. The part that turns polite dinner conversation into a real debate. This is what happens at the end of every dynasty. Not the parade, not the ring count, not the highlight reels or the championship merch. The part after. The part where the truth catches up. The part where the floor stops tilting in your favor. The part where a Hall of Famer in a TNT studio looks at one of the best role players of a generation, a brilliant, fiery, Hall of Fame-worthy defender, and tells him, on his own airtime, that the run is over and the math is final. Charles Barkley said it himself, in his own words, to Dan Patrick the morning after the segment aired. "I wasn't trying to be mean, I was just telling the truth. And the truth is, we're not on the same level. That's not a debate. That's a fact. That's the part Draymond Green couldn't hear. That's the part he couldn't sit with. That's the part that got under his skin and stayed there. That's why he reached across the desk and took a swing, verbally, physically, emotionally, at the one man in basketball you cannot win an argument with on live television." Charles Barkley isn't a great former player. He isn't just a Hall of Famer. He's a psychological outlier who spent 26 years on television, telling the truth, taking the hits, absorbing the backlash, and never once flinching when somebody tried to take a piece of him. He's been called every name in the book: fat, lazy, undisciplined, a gambler, a golfer who happened to play basketball. He's admitted his own failures on national TV, his weight, his lack of a ring, his playoff meltdowns, his regrets. He's sat in that chair and said, "I wasn't good enough," more times than most players say I was great. And he's never, in 26 years, lost a public argument to a player still in the league. Not once. Draymond Green walked into that studio thinking he was sitting at the desk with a peer, a fellow warrior, a fellow trash talker, a fellow champion who understood the grind. He walked out being told, in 2 sentences, that he's not. Not a peer, not a contemporary, not an equal. A really good player, not a great one, not a legend, not a Hall of Famer. A really good player who had a hell of a career. If you agree Charles Barkley won this exchange, cleanly, decisively, without ever raising his voice, drop a like. If you think Draymond Green had a point, tell us why in the comments. We read every single one, even the angry ones. And subscribe to Old as Gold, because we're the only channel telling these stories the way they actually happened. Not the way the PR teams rewrite them, not the way the highlight reels edit them, the way they actually happened. Barkley versus Draymond. One swing, one winner. No rematch needed.